Welcome to College Prep Confidential, empowering your student with the elite tools they need to get accepted to their dream university. Discover test-taking blueprints from Ivy League professionals, financial aid secrets to get more money for school, and mindset tips for a better college future. Now please welcome your host, Don Sevcik.
Welcome to episode 14 of College Prep Confidential. And this week, we're going to get a little nasty with an episode entitled Access Forbidden Knowledge from an $80 Cup of Cat Poop. During the 1600s, the Dutch introduced coffee to the Southeast Asian region. The name Java for coffee initially gets its name from the island of Java, where coffee is produced. And it's the setting for the story I'm about to tell you. Back in the 1850s on the island of Java, the Dutch elite passed a troublesome law. They banned farmers and plantation workers from harvesting the coffee for personal consumption. These poor farmers who toiled in the hot sun all day got the middle finger when they asked to drink the coffee. But like all great minds, the farmers discovered a loophole. The law stated the farmers couldn't touch the crops, but it said nothing about the crops if they fall off the plant, or what happens to them afterwards. Around this time, the farmers noticed an interesting event. A musk-spraying turd dropper called the civet cat used to hang around the coffee plantations. And being a nocturnal creature, the civet cat raided the plantations at night and stuffed their gullet full of coffee cherries. The guards were asleep, and nobody could see the civet cat eating the cherries. Now here's where our farmers got a gift from God. The civet cat binged on the coffee cherries and then pooped them out. The coffee seeds went undigested all the way through the civet cat's bowels, and out they came through the cat poop. Now, being full within the law, the farmers washed off the coffee seeds from the disgusting turds and made their own coffee, called kopi luwak. Now, this is Indonesian for coffee from the luwak cat. They noticed on the first few coffee brews that the cat turd coffee tasted far better than the other coffee from the plantation. Part of the brilliance of this plan comes from the undigested seeds. First, the civet cat only picked ripe cherries, and he left the rotten ones behind. Second, the digestion process removed all of the fruit and pulp, leaving a perfect seed behind. In addition, the civet's stomach enzymes improved the coffee's aroma and flavor, which meant less work and higher quality for our farmers. And the end result was a delicious cup of coffee, courtesy of a steaming pile of cat droppings. Now here's the fascinating part. In certain parts of the world, coffee fiends pay $100 to $500 per pound for a taste of these transformed cat turds. While fans of the coffee tout the taste, the hefty price also comes from the unorthodox method of making this coffee. And it's made certain coffee growers stacks of greenbacks, all thanks to farmers using alternative knowledge, shortcuts, and crafty solutions to gain an edge. You see, finding an edge can change your life. For example, what if you had foresight into an exam before you took it? Instead of studying in the traditional manner of hunting and pecking, what if you had exam experts craft your study plan for you? And what if you knew in advance what types of questions would be asked? Interesting, right? Wouldn't you like to get your hands on this? I'll show you how in a moment, but first, let me tell you how I found this unique opportunity. Years ago, a wise man told me to always keep my antenna up. When I hear or see something interesting, he said, take note of it. especially if you haven't heard it before or it rattles your brain when you hear it. He told me treat your brain like a radio and make sure your antenna is up to catch the right signals. Now, about this opportunity I mentioned, here's the story. So 2 years ago, the story goes, I'm browsing around my computer when I land on a site about ACT and SAT exams. The pitch line mentions something about designed by elite Ivy League experts. Now, I don't know why, but it rattled my brain. And so following the lesson from the wise man that I got, on an impulse, I called the phone number on the site. And a guy on the other end picked up, and we had a 30-minute phone conversation. And after this conversation, we came up with a way to design a platform for ACT and SAT exams. The premise is simple. The study guide, the questions, tips, tricks, and mindset behind the platform come from the minds of the best test takers in the world. These people work smarter, not harder. And they've taken the exam multiple times. They've been consultants on the exams, and they've mastered every angle and shortcut to crush these exams. And so this meeting with this guy on the website eventually turned into another meeting where we both discussed building a platform. This platform contains Ivy League expert processes and mindset tips. So when somebody starts fresh on an ACT or SAT exam on day one, they aren't set off on a wild goose chase with a map that has no treasure. Every step, from the initial introduction, the weekly progress, and the way their mind works, comes directly from these experts. And by the way, this process I described is known as modeling. Modeling is finding the best person in your industry, class, or field and mimicking their behaviors. I learned this tip from Tony Robbins. He swears by it. In fact, he had some of the best people in finance and health mentor him personally. And he used modeling to learn their tips and tricks and get better in those fields. Now, the goal of modeling is for you to get better from observing the expert or working directly with the expert in your field by thinking and acting like they do. So I took this modeling principle and I adopted it for an ACT and SAT platform. Now, the study guides, the testing, the answers, the work behind the answers comes directly from these Ivy League testing experts. Since I can't have 3.5 million people work with me directly, like they do on my site where they run through the calculators, I can't work with you all directly, as sad as it makes me. I took the brain power of these Ivy League experts and their approach, and I built it into a platform. This platform models the exact mental process the Ivy League experts take when approaching a problem, and how the thought before the problem is vital to solving the problem. We're modeling the mental process of the top 1% exam takers in the country, and this is why I nicknamed it Download an Ivy Leaguer's Brain. Since modeling acts like a program for your mind and body, no different than a computer program on your desktop or your phone, you simply install this program to adopt the Ivy League expert principles of test taking. And it's all made possible when you keep your antenna up, just like the civet coffee farmers did when they watched the cat eat the cherries. And when you keep your antenna up, you build a path to greatness. Now, the other part comes from finding shortcuts, like the coffee farmers did when they let the civet cat do the dirty work. The civet cat digestion process left nothing but a ripe coffee seed behind. And it works the same with my Download an Ivy Leaguer's Brain program. The experts stripped away everything you don't need and only left over and optimized what you do need. And what's left over is a perfect seed you can plant in your mind, just like the seed left behind by the civet cat. And when it ripens, you're left with an average increase of 3 points on your ACT exam and 150 points on your SAT exam. And you reduce study time, eradicate stress, and make things easier on yourself. And all of this is made possible by shortcuts, tips, and tricks from people who have been there, done it, and mastered the college prep exam process. Now, this podcast is dedicated to giving listeners an edge on exams, an edge on financial aid, and an edge on the college prep process, similar to the edge the farmers gained when they discovered the Kopi Luwak coffee. So let me deliver this edge into your hands. First, I've got a special offer for you to give you the upper hand that you need. You could try out the Download an Ivy Leaguer's Brain platform for $1. $1 measly for 7 days. And if you like it, you can continue on at $99 per month. Now keep in mind, the average expert SAT consultant charges $150 per hour or more for their services. You are getting 7 days for $1, and if you decide to continue, $99 for an entire month. You're getting Ivy League experts for a fraction of the cost. Also, I've secured another unfair advantage for you. I've partnered up with a college prep agency dedicated to maximizing your financial aid. And if you want, I've reserved a $250 strategy session for you, absolutely free. During this session, you'll get a strategic plan for college prep. And if you like what you hear, you could discuss a full, done-for-you college prep package. And what you'll learn in this free session will teach you what really goes on behind the scenes for financial aid and college prep. And learning what really goes on behind the scenes will give you the same advantages that the coffee farmers got when they sat back and watched how to do things differently. To claim both of these podcast listener bonuses, go to cpcshow.com. That is cpcshow.com. And for my podcast listeners that prefer the phone, call 1-800-234-2933. That's 1-800-234-2933. And leave your contact information. Tell my assistant you are interested in the college prep deal. I want to thank you for listening, and I will see you next week.
That's all for this episode of College Prep Confidential. To discover how to give your student a better future by increasing financial aid, improving test scores, and reducing stress, visit our website at cpcshow.com. That's cpcshow.com.